Hi everybody, my name's Pieta Valentine. I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. Now, this session is going to be about questioning a dementia resident or questioning a person with dementia. Now, questioning a person with dementia when they are in the midst of a dementia, high-stress dementia experience is a very delicate operation. But I'm going to share it with you because I want you to know how it is that I came to know about how people think when they're in one of these dementia episodes. Because before I explain, all of us think differently, naturally. That's why we all have different characters and personalities, because we think differently, we speak differently, we behave differently according to our environment and circumstances and makeup, etc. So the way that someone deals with dementia is similar. I mean, everyone deals with dementia in a different way. Some people make it through and they can find a way to manage through it, and other people don't find a way to manage through it. For me, in terms of the way I think I have to understand every single detail of the equation before it will all click and I can move on to the next thing. In terms of helping someone or studying something or researching something, whatever it is, I like to know every single facet. And once that's in place, then my mind's clear and I can move on. And that was the same with me needing to understand the dementia experience with residents and patients, because if I didn't understand how they were thinking, I couldn't see how I could help them. And so one of the first residents who I became, connected with, worked with a lot, she had quite a number of dementia episodes, and you can tell a dementia episode by looking at it. You get to know, actually. It takes time to actually see if someone's going through a dementia episode or not, but when someone's relaxed, their face is mobile, they've got, a warm expression, their shoulders are relaxed, they're animated, that's, a natural warm, when the person's easy and relaxed, that's their expression. I mean, we know anger, tension in the neck, veins are sticking out, red hot and flushed, shouting, that's anger, not very nice. Anxiety is just when all the tension builds, and depression when the person is completely flat and no animation. So the dementia experience is more like the high stress, well, it is actually a high stress experience. It goes right to the peak of high stress and so when you look at the person, they're not just tense, they're not just tense, but their eyes actually take on a sort of almost a fierce expression, a glazed expression, and it's like they're looking through you, not at you. It's quite a specific look, quite a specific expression. And when you start to look for it, you'll see it with your grandmother or grandfather or relative. So back to questioning dementia residents. So I had this resident who I spent a lot of time with, and she quite commonly had dementia stress episodes. I'd say probably a quarter of the time that I was with her. So on one such occasion, I really wanted to know what she was thinking. But I knew she hated me asking. She hated me asking her questions. She'd made that quite clear. She always used to say, I don't mind listening, but I hate talking, So it was very difficult to understand what she wanted because she didn't like talking. She wanted me to do all the talking, and I talk enough as it is. So anyway, but she was going through this state, and I said to her, we'd had quite a good week. I'd sort of seen her a few times that week. She'd had quite a good week, and I said to her when she was lying prone, curled up in the bed facing the wall, that was her go-to when she was really stressed out, curling up, head down, facing the wall, saying nothing. And she hated to be disturbed in that state. And it took about an hour or two often for her to come out of it. But anyway, I had to find out. So I went up and I said to her, what are you thinking? You know, and she was hissed back. And I said, look, I really need to understand what you're thinking because I can't help unless I understand. And she barked out, fuzzy brain. And I said, and then she said, fuzzy brain, fuzzy mind. And I said, does that mean a stressed mind? Does that mean stress? Yes, she said. So that was it. Dementia is a stressed out mind, a speeding mind, an anxious mind. Now, that really clicked for me because I spent 25 years in a private practice. Well, I had my own private practice for 25 years, treating work-related injury, muscle tension and mental tension. So it was, frozen shoulders, painful necks, tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, all muscle tension related, which comes from the keyboard stuff, and other, hairdressing, carpet weaving, all the activity, hairdressing, all the activity, violin, all the activities that where your arms are either up here doing an activity or on the keyboard, all result in heaps of muscle tension and mental stress. Mental stress because of the pain, of course, but once you've got the muscle tension, then mental tension sparks easily. So I felt comfortable with that mental tension, mental anxiety experience and how to deal with it. So from there I thought, good, okay, at least that's one positive thing I can help people with here is the mental anxiety or the stress aspect. But then as I started to talk to other people, I began to realize that every person with dementia deals with dementia stress in a different way, which makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, in our lives, all of us deal with challenges in different ways, and dementia is a major challenge. So it will be according to the personality of the person, how they deal with it. Like, for example, there was one guy, he'd been a builder, a policeman, he'd had his own business with trucks, and when I was able to reach him through one of his dementia stress experiences, he said, look, he didn't look at me, he just talked to himself, but when I asked him to explain, he just, in a quiet, level way, said, I'm building back, I'm going to get out of this, it will happen, it takes time, I might need help, I'll get there. So that was his way of explaining it methodically. And then another lady, he was a great guy. Well, he is a great guy. Then there was another lady, an elderly lady, a charming woman. And I caught her at the end of a dementia stress episode. She was just waking up actually. But it was half dementia stress, half exhaustion, half sleep, combination. Anyway, she woke up, but still her eyes were glazed and she had that fixed expression. And I said, and she said, what's happened? Where have I been? Did I dress myself? What's going on? And I said, everything's okay. I said, and she said, why am I here? Are these people defective? Am I defective? I said, no. I said, look, everything's okay. You're here because you and the people here have memory loss, especially present memory loss. And because of that, there can be, risks in terms of daily living, etc. Risks and hazards of losing one's way with direction, orientation loss, and problems in the household if you've got memory loss. She explained, she understood that quickly. And then she said, we need this thinking, don't we? And I said, yes. And she said, we all need it, even though you structure it in a way that others don't understand. And I thought, how insightful is that? That she realised that I was planning programs for people to think, even though the residents themselves were probably unaware of it, but she was aware of it. And she said, yes, she said, all of the people here need to have this thinking, but it needs to have something meaty to it. Oh, that was so well expressed. I could not have possibly expressed it as well as that. That all the people here need to have these thinking workshops, and it has to have something meaty to it. She was charming, that lady. So, 3 people, different ways of managing dementia. Same thing, still the spin, still the blanks, still the anxiety, but working through it in different ways. So I don't suggest, those of you that, I would only suggest asking these questions, or 1 or 2 questions, hopefully, to your grandmother or the person who has dementia. Only ask them these questions if you really need to know in order for you to understand to better help them. That's the only reason you ask these questions, because it's quite stressful for them. Well, it is very stressful actually, because when they're in the midst of an episode, everything, it's just total confusion. So, they don't know, they might not know your name. They probably don't. They won't be able to communicate easily with you, except in a very detached sort of a way. They don't know if they can trust you. They're spending all their energy just trying to survive and just cope with this thing and hopefully get out of it, hoping that it's temporary. So the best thing you can actually do when you see someone's going through this is just say it's Granny. Look, Granny, I know. Well, firstly, you can ask them, just say simply, are you stressed? That's all you need to say. Are you stressed? And if she goes, yes, then you know, it's the big event. So just say, look, Granny, I understand. It's okay. I'm here. You're going to get through this, but I'm here to support you. And soon it will be gone. So just breathe and relax and, I'm not going anywhere. Now that is the most encouraging, the most supportive thing you can do. Now, if they're in their room already, just get her to lie down on the bed comfortably, rug over her, pillow comfortable, just so she can just relax physically, mentally, and, work through it. If you're in the lounge, sometimes the person just prefers just to stay sitting and not move because it's a big deal even to think of moving. So just talk them through it in the same way in the lounge, even if there's chaos in the background, don't worry. The residents are used to it. They have to get used to it. I don't know how they deal with it. It's incredible. There's so much noise. But anyway, just sort of try, you at least be as calm as possible with your grandmother and wait for her to move through it. So these are the questions, but to ask, if you need to, I'm explaining the experience so that you'll know from the perspective of quite a few residents that have explained to me about the experience. But if you yourself need to understand it and hear it from your grandmother yourself, ask her, but only once. Don't badger, don't go over it again. Once she's given you the answer that clicks, enables you to understand what it is that they're experiencing, then that's the finish of it. You don't keep up with that because it's too stressful for them. But they will also know if, they will hear in the tone of your voice. They're very perceptive with tone, that. They will pick up from the tone of your voice that you're interested, that you need to learn, that you need to understand in order to be able to help them. So on that basis, they won't mind. But the trust has to be high for them to do this. If there's been a fracture of trust, like we've gone through before, if they've been lied to, the old white lies there, and they feel that they can't trust you, and that's been fractured, they won't give this information. So that's why it's really important to tell the truth. On all accounts, tell the truth. There has to be no vibration of white lies, no white lies anywhere. It has to be completely open and transparent. It's very important. And if the person feels that with you, then they will divulge this personal information about their dementia. Because the thing is, these people have coped with so much, haven't they? You know, just the diagnosis of dementia, so much prejudice and stigma. Many people have prejudice and stigma about this. So these people will have experienced that definitely from someone in their family or in their community. So, you know, it takes some time to know who to trust, actually, who's actually going to be empathetic and understanding with them rather than just writing them off, you know, that they can't think, they don't know anything, you know, or otherwise, you know, people being, you know, condescending or patronizing or speaking on behalf of them or speaking over them. So many things they have to put up with to find a person who's actually engaging with them and respecting them and listening to them and interested in them. You know, it's not everyone that's like that. So they need to sort of wade through all of those layers to find the person that they can be with and who they can trust and recognize that trust. So all of this is the most valuable component, is the trust. Because once they start to communicate with you about how they're feeling and thinking, really, and they can get that channel of thinking going, it's just remarkable how much, you know, you can achieve and progress, and the warm, tremendous relationships that you can build, filled with trust and regard and all the jewels of wisdom that you get from these people. Is it pearls of wisdom or something like that? The gems, yeah, remarkable, you know, far better than any quotes you read online when you get it from a real person who's lived it and breathed it. And oh yeah, it really reaches. And I think you can just layer this into your own personality and enable it. And it really, I found them so inspiring, these residents. They gave me enormous courage because I could see their courage, so much courage, having to deal with dementia. It's such a stressful condition to have to deal with. And seeing their courage. And actually, one of the main things that they used to say was, I'm trying hard, you know, or that was the most common theme, that I'm really trying, because that was it. They were having to make enormous effort when you're under a great deal of stress, to make that effort to grind through with your thinking, to bring in the positive thinking and the progressive thinking. We all know when we're really stressed out or angry, how difficult it is to be positive. Same thing. Or anxious, how difficult it is to be positive. So with dementia, with that high anxiety, they've got to work through that really, you know, it's a very disciplined, methodical technique that they have to apply. And so it does take a lot of effort, you know, a lot of effort. And a lot of the residents, you know, they've been into sport and that's helped them a lot with the discipline. They've been really hardworking in their life, farmers, you know, business people, you know, policemen, nurses and teachers are really good with this work. A lot of people do manage to do this, but even so, it still takes remarkable discipline. So that's it for today. That's enough of questioning dementia residents about their experience. It's very valuable. I mean, it's very touching and insightful and, yeah, a privileged information that we are receiving from these people when they do speak to us, and so valuable. So that's my sharing of my experience too in this. I thought it was important to share that. Now, thank you very much for your time and your interest and watching these posts, and for the likes and the subscribers. Thank you. Really thank you for subscribing. It's just fantastic. So anyone that's interested in getting the books, I'll put the 2 books in the link below. And till next time, thank you.